Leah thought she was having a bad dream. Bone cancer? There must be a mistake. Dr. Thomas took her hand. She pulled away, not wanting the man to comfort her when he was shattering her world. Osteogenic sarcoma is a disease that hits teens and people in their early 20s, he told her. It often starts in the leg bones, the femur and tibia. It's unusual for it to be present in the kneecap or finger. A tumor has grown on the inside of your finger and weakened the bone. That's why it broke. Another tumor is growing under your kneecap. I don't believe it. I wouldn't make it up, Leah. So if it's true, what are you going to do about it? We'll fight aggressively, he said. Chemotherapy is a part of the standard treatment. She recalled the cancer patients on the petty floor, children bawled from chemo, hooked to IVs in Grandma Hall. This couldn't happen to her. I don't want chemo. Leah, your life is at stake. I want to talk to my mother. The words surprised her. Dr. Thomas nodded. I have a call into her. When she calls back, I'll send for her. I'll put all of us on my speakerphone and we'll have a three-way conversation. Leah's eyes stung from holding back tears. Can I be by myself now? I have to think about what you've told me. The doctor stood. His hands rested on her shoulder. Leah, I know this is a blow, but you can lick it. I promise to help you every step of the way. Long after he was gone, she sat at the table, numbly staring into space. Somewhere down the hall, someone was playing Christmas music. How could she feel joy and peace when she'd been told she had cancer? She sighed and a long, shuddering sob escaped. Leah clenched her fists together. I won't cry, she told herself. Crying would make the whole thing real. Crying would mean acceptance, and she wasn't ready for that. Leah felt that like a caged animal. She wanted to tell someone. She wanted to call a friend and talk, except that she had no friends. Jared and Ethan were on their way home, and even when they got there, Leah couldn't call them. She couldn't write them a letter. She could write them a letter, but by the time they got it, the news would be old. And besides, it wasn't as if they could drive back to Indianapolis to console her. Her door opened and Molly came in hesitantly into the room. Her expression told Leah as she heard the news. Leah, honey, I'm so sorry. Maybe he's wrong, Leah said. Doctors can be wrong, can't they? They can, Molly paused, then added, but I don't think he'd have told you what he did if he wasn't sure. Leah drooped. Why is this happening to me, Molly? I don't know why, but I do know that you have a wonderful doctor to help you through it. Leah, chemo treatments aren't like they used to be. But I don't want to go through it. Molly seemed to know that it was the chemo, not the cancer, that was scaring Leah the most. But he could be wrong, Leah insisted. Molly didn't answer. Instead, she put her arms around Leah, and together they stood while the joyous strains of Christmas music danced in the air around them. Eventually, dinner trays were cleared away for the first time since she had checked into the hospital. Leah turned on the TV set in her room, mostly to keep herself distracted. The room was lonely. She missed Rebecca and Charity. Most of all, she missed Ethan. She flipped through the TV channels aimlessly. A night nurse brought her a pill. Leah asked, "What's this?" She was half afraid it was some form of chemotherapy. "A sleeping pill," the nurse said. "Dr. Thomas thought you might need it tonight. Do you know if Gabriella's come on duty yet?" "Who?" "Gabriella. I don't know her last name, but she works on this floor at night." The nurse shrugged. "Sorry, I don't know her, but I'm rather new to the nursing staff. If I run into anyone with that name, I'll send her straight to your room." Leah swallowed the pill and waited for it to take effect. Much later during the night, she was vaguely aware that someone had come into her room. She struggled to talk, but she was too drowsy. She felt the squeezing band of the blood pressure cuff and the cool metal of the stethoscope against the inside of her arm. "Gabriella?" she whispered. No answer. Leah fell back into a deep and dreamless sleep. "Leah, wake up!" Someone was shaking her. "Go away." "It's 6 a.m. Dr. Thomas sent me. I'm supposed to bring you to his office. Your mother's on the phone and she wants to talk to you." Leah struggled to throw off the grogginess from the sleeping pill. The nurse helped her up, settled her into a wheelchair, and headed down the hall. Leah grabbed a carton of orange juice at the nurse's station and sipped it during the ride up in the elevator. By the time she arrived at Dr. Thomas's office on the top floor, she was fully awake. His office was small and cramped, and he was sitting behind a desk heaped with medical books and file folders. The nurse put on the chair's brake and left. Leah heard her mother's voice through the speakerphone. "This is preposterous," she was saying. "My daughter checked into your hospital less than a week ago with a broken finger. You diddle around with all kinds of testing, and then you call to tell me she has bone cancer?" "Mrs. Dutton, please listen." "No, you listen. I want to talk to Leah now." Dr. Thomas looked at Leah. She leaned forward. "I'm here, Mom." "Oh, darling, are you all right?" "Not really." You just sit tight, baby. I'm coming home just as soon as I can get packed up. Neil's making arrangements to get our tickets changed even as we speak." The calendar on Dr. Thomas's desk showed that it was Tuesday, December 21st. It was late Tuesday in Japan. If everything went like clockwork, the soonest her mother and Neil could be here would be the next night. "Please get me out of here," Leah said. "Please don't make me spend Christmas in this place." "Not to worry, Leah. We'll get you out of there as soon as possible." "Mrs. Dutton," Dr. Thomas cut in, "now that we know what we're dealing with, we should get Leah started on chemo immediately." "You do not have my permission to do anything to my daughter before I get there," her mother said sharply. "I don't recommend waiting." "I want a second opinion," Leah's mother said stubbornly. "All the options in the world won't change the diagnosis, Mrs. Dutton." Leah swallowed. The doctor wasn't backing down, but neither was her mother. At that moment, Leah was glad her mother was so strong-willed. "I stand by my original statement," Leah's mother said. "Don't do anything to my daughter except take care of her daily needs until I get there. Is that clear, Dr. Thomas?" "Perfectly." The doctor didn't look pleased. "I'll let you sign off with Leah." "Mom, I sure wish you were here." "I will be soon, Leah. You just hold on until Neil and I get there. We're not going to give up without a fight. You can count on it."